You know that thing in your pocket, your phone? It's honestly one of the most powerful bits of tech ever made. We use them for everything, right? But today, we're going to peel back the curtain and really see what makes it all tick.
So yeah, it's your gateway to the entire world. But do you actually know how it works? Like really? Well, to figure it out, we're going to follow a day in the life of, let's call her Alex. Her journey is going to help us unpack all the amazing tech that powers our mobile lives. Okay, so first things first, we got to kind of reframe how we think about this device. It's not just for calls and texts anymore, not by a long shot. It is a powerful, totally connected computer that fits in the palm of your hand. And that idea, that's the foundation for everything else we're about to dive into. All right, so our journey with Alex kicks off on her morning commute. You know the drill, just like most of us. She's online, scrolling, getting her day started. But how is that even happening? How is she connected? This is where we get into our connection lifelines. So your phone basically has two main ways of getting online. When Alex is at home, she's on Wi-Fi. You know, that super fast local network. But the second she walks out the door, her phone just seamlessly switches over to cellular data. We're talking 4G and that new ridiculously fast 5G. It blankets the whole city with coverage, with speeds that can hit, get this, 10 gigabits per second. Wow. So what's the little piece of magic that makes that whole cellular thing possible? Well, it's this tiny little chip. I bet you've seen one of these before. And believe it or not, they just keep getting smaller and smaller. It's called a SIM card. That stands for Subscriber Identity Module. But what it really is, it's like an ID badge for your phone. It basically tells the network, hey, I'm legit, give me access. Without that little card, no cellular service. It's really as simple as that. Okay, so Alex's day just took a sharp turn. She's got to catch a flight for a last-minute business trip. And all of a sudden, that constant connection we were just talking about, it becomes a problem. I mean, what are you supposed to do when you're 30,000 feet up in the air?
You know the drill. We've all heard the announcement. And you flip that little switch? We are, of course, talking about airplane mode. It's the simple, elegant solution to this very unique problem.
But what does that switch actually do? Well, think of airplane mode as a master kill switch. It shuts down all the wireless radios in your phone. We're talking cellular, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, you name it. But here's a little pro tip for you. Even after you've hit that switch, you can almost always go back and turn just the Wi-Fi back on. That's how you connect to the plane's in-flight internet. All right, Alex has landed and she's heading straight to a cafe to get some work done. And this is where her phone is about to show off a whole new set of superpowers, like sharing its own connection and even buying her coffee. So Alex sits down, opens her laptop, and boom, the classic roadblock. The cafe's Wi-Fi is down. Has this happened to you? It's so frustrating. But her phone has the key to getting online in seconds. And the solution is literally right there in her pocket. In just a few taps, she can turn her phone into its own personal Wi-Fi hotspot. It just shares its rock-solid cellular connection with her laptop. And just like that, problem solved. Okay, so the fancy technical term for this whole process is tethering. You're literally, tethering one device to another to share the internet. Now, when you do it wirelessly over Wi-Fi, that's what we call a mobile hotspot. But you can also do it the old-fashioned way with a USB cable or even over Bluetooth. All right, so she's back online getting work done, and Alex decides it's time for a coffee. She walks up to the counter, but she doesn't pull out her wallet or credit card. Nope, she just taps her phone on the little terminal. So what is this tap magic? It's all powered by something called NFC, which stands for Near Field Communication. It's a type of wireless tech that's designed to work only over a super short distance. We're talking just a few centimeters. And that's not a bug, it's a feature. That short range is exactly what makes it so secure, which is why it's perfect for things like Apple Pay and Google Wallet. Okay, coffee break's over. Alex gets to her company's local office for her big meeting. Now, she needs to take her portable laptop and turn it into a full-blown workstation. We've got to go way beyond the built-in screen and keyboard here. And this is where things like docking stations and port replicators are total game changers. They're basically the bridge between portability and real productivity. Alex just plugs in one single cable, and bam, she's instantly connected to a big monitor, a proper keyboard and mouse, and even a fast wired network. Her little laptop just became the brain of a full desktop setup. So while she's getting set up on this office loaner laptop, she spots something kind of weird. Have you ever seen this? This little red nub just kind of wedged in the middle of the keyboard on a lot of business laptops. What in the world is that thing? Well, let me introduce you to the track point. Some people call it a pointing stick, but it's basically a tiny little joystick for your fingertip. It's super famous on laptops like the Lenovo ThinkPads.
So here's the deal with it. It's pressure sensitive, and it lets you move the mouse cursor around without ever taking your hands off the keyboard. For people who type really fast, this is a huge deal. It's all about pure speed and efficiency. No need to reach down for a trackpad or over for a mouse.
Okay, let's zoom out for a second. Alex is using a company laptop, a company phone, and these devices are not only powerful, but they're also holding a ton of sensitive corporate data. This brings us to a really big question. How do companies manage all this? How do they keep it secure? And who's really in control here? This is where we get into corporate control systems. So the first level is something called MDM, or mobile device management. That's all about locking down the device itself, forcing you to have a strong password, or being able to wipe it remotely if it gets lost. But then there's a bigger umbrella called EMM, Enterprise Mobility Management. MMM has all the MDM stuff, but it also adds another layer of control over specific apps and the actual company data on the device.
So why should you care about any of this? Well, the big takeaway is that companies are using these tools to walk a really fine line. On one hand, they want to empower people like Alex to be productive wherever they are. But on the other hand, they have to protect all that sensitive company info. It's this constant, tricky balancing act between making things easy and keeping things secure.
And that really brings us to our final thought for the day. Your phone, it's an absolute marvel. It connects you to literally everything and lets you do your job from anywhere on the planet. But, as we've seen today, especially when work gets involved, it makes you stop and ask a pretty critical question. Who really holds the keys to it?